And also, I got to talk to Bill about what's going on with Freddie Freeman, because it's starting to emerge a little bit more that Freddie Freeman doesn't seem happy being on the Dodgers. And keep this in mind. So Freddie Freeman, MVP, a wonderful career. He was sort of the modern day Dale Murphy for Atlanta fans. Maybe a Chipper Jones kind of player. Not at that level, but close, because Chipper's a Hall of Famer. In the offseason, Freddie was a free agent. They had won the World Series. Braves had, conversations with his agent. And after weeks of not making progress, Atlanta said, you know what? We're going to sign Matt Olson of the Oakland A's. So younger, cheaper, and they signed him to a long-term deal. Well, I think Freddie Freeman's like, wait, what'd you do? And it felt like he didn't think the Braves would do that. Or at least that's the feeling I'm getting here. And then he hit the open market. He signed a 6-year deal, $162 million. And a few months later, it is pretty clear Freddie Freeman didn't get what he wanted. This is how he sounded last Friday night when the Dodgers and Braves were in Atlanta.
I think I'm crying so much because some of you know all of that, what happened. So it's hard. Yeah. I don't know if there's going to be compartmentalizing anything about tonight, even tomorrow and Sunday, because tomorrow's crowd is going to be a whole different crowd. Sunday's crowd is going to be a whole different crowd too. So I don't know. I was looking forward to today. But I'm hoping it's Monday soon. Gosh, this is a lot harder than I thought.
Buster Olney, great reporter at the Mothership, wrote about this in March. He was foreshadowing this because he, I think, was realizing at the time that Freddie Freeman, in his mind, may have made a mistake. Or the Braves made a mistake. Or his management team made a mistake. Or all the above made a mistake. Deadlines, Braves moved on, and Freddie Freeman, it's sort of like you still think you're engaging in conversation. There's still, talks going on. I was privy to a situation where somebody that worked at the Mothership went in and demanded something. Demanded. And next thing I know, that person is walking out of the building and told not to return. That person then, the next day, came back trying to beg to get his job back. So the offer was gone. It was like, we gave you an offer, and so these things happen where you overplay your hand. And I don't know what role Freddie Freeman played in this. Sometimes you let your agent, that's why you hire your agent. Your agent works for you. And then you say to your agent, hey, now were you clear with them to say, look, whatever happens, whatever the bottom line is with money, I still want to be an Atlanta Brave. If you're negotiating that way, the Braves don't know that. Now, if you say to them, hey, whatever happens at the end of this, he still wants to play for Atlanta, there's no leverage there. The agents are trying to get the best deal for their client. Because when you get a big deal for Freddie Freeman, then somebody else goes, oh, you got a big deal for Freddie. I mean, Scott Boras, that's what Scott Boras does. You just sign up with Scott Boras, he'll get you more money here. But Freddie Freeman, I don't know if he said to his agents, look, whatever happens, I want to stay here. This is my home. I grew up a Braves fan. This is important. We won the World Series, and I want to stay here. Because if he did, now he's fired his agents and representing himself. So something happened, and we'll eventually find that out. But I go back to what Buster Olney reported, in March. There were a lot of people that were really surprised. Chipper Jones works for the Braves. He was shocked. Yes, Heaton.
But couldn't Freddie Freeman have fired his agents after they messed up the negotiations in the first place?
I don't know if it's one of those you don't know what you're missing until you're there in the moment, and then you do realize what you're missing. And those fans and the reaction, and I think it hit him pretty hard. I don't know when he came to the realization of now, I mean, you fire your agents now? I mean, I don't know if he found out more information from the Braves side of things. Because I'm guessing you're back there for 3 or 4 days. All of a sudden, somebody says, hey, like, why? We offered. We didn't want you to leave. Yes,
Well, that's like that in that Buster story, right? It says in the end, the total value of the deal accepted from the Freeman accepted from the Dodgers wasn't far off from what the Braves had originally offered.
I know.
If it's that important to stay, you got to say, I don't care what happens. I want to stay here.
But like you said, Dan, there was deadlines involved, and the deadline, it's unclear from the different reports I'm reading, was it Freddie Freeman's agent that said, here's the deadline for your best offer, or was it the Braves' deadline? And once that deadline passed, the Braves said, we're not going to be left without someone. We need a decent player, and they shifted that money elsewhere. Then that money the next morning is gone. It's to somebody else's account.
Well, once you went out and got Matt Olson from the A's, then it was over.
Shouldn't Freddie Freeman have been upset then? What the hell? You guys just messed up the deadline. Like, that's when you fire your agent.
I know. Well, no, then you need them because now I got to find a home. But it feels like it's not buyer's remorse, it's player remorse where you just go, now, how do you, like, how are Dodger fans supposed to feel about this? Or the Dodger teammates or Dodger management here?
Yes. Well, it's Clayton Kershaw saying, we're a pretty good team over here too. So
yeah.
I hope we're not second fiddle.
Yeah. He did have some coded words there that was basically saying to Freddie Freeman, you're a Dodger. Yes,
not a bad organization.
No.
To work for.
Like if that's the consolation prize, damn.
If anything, this is like proof that there is such thing as too much money. Because if $162 million is like, I don't care, I just want to go back to Atlanta, I don't want to be in LA. $162 million?
Chipper Jones says he thinks the Braves would have gone to 145 or 150. There's a $15 million difference there. I don't know. I think there's money attached to this down the road with Freddie Freeman. Yeah, Paul.
Do you know what I remember most about this whole situation is during the 21 World Series, the Braves won 4-2. It was being talked about during the game. Yeah. I think it was Joe Buck calling, and people were like, you're talking about Freddie Freeman leaving. This series isn't even over yet, but it was that big of a topic, and that I felt like it was assumed that he was leaving the Braves, which is weird because it's not like they're not a competitive organization. They're in the World Series when they're talking about this. They've been to the playoffs 4 years in a row. They're not small market in any way.
And, this wasn't acrimonious. I mean, it felt like this was business. I waited a long time to go back to ESPN because I held some grudges, and it was not a good relationship. I got there, and they brought back, this was the, 40th anniversary? And I was up there on a panel, Chris Berman and Bob Lee and Robin Roberts, and I went back, and I was mad. It's like, all right, I'll go. I didn't want to go. I had one request when I went back. I said, I'll come back. Can you buy lunch for everybody on campus? And they go, well, we can't do that. I said, well, I'd like to buy everybody lunch here. Can we do that? And they said they couldn't do it. And then my wife goes, just get it over with. Just go. You're going to see some people that you truly care about. I got back there, and I was emotional because I did see people. You did see people saying, hey, you never should have left, or we never should have let you go. Like, you get that. But that was years, not a couple of months after. And it does hit you. It hit me in the moment. I got up there and started talking about ESPN, and I was blubbering. And it hit him. You can't prepare. He thinks that he's okay. I'm okay. I got to compose myself. And then you get in there, and then he couldn't compose himself because it hits you. It hits you. And then there was nothing he could do. And it's not like I don't have to go back to ESPN. Freddie Freeman has to go back to where he played. He plays in the National League. It's not like, hey, your job means you got to go back to ESPN. I didn't have to. He does.